When some of you are out there protesting April 5th, screaming,
"Give us free!"
Where do you think ICE is going to be? I'll wait. Yeah, I'm going to put my little alarm bells in for this one. Oh, Shop Soko. Someone had asked me in a previous post if I believe in marching. If this were 1940 through 1970, the answer would probably be yes. But since this is 2025, my answer is going to be no. So let's have a story time. Back in the early 2000s, I had a date who took me to one of his little specialty clubs that he belonged to. And this was one of those super bougie clubs based on your consecutive net worth. And he found out quickly things like that do not impress me or blow my skirt up in any way, shape, or form. But we did get into some great conversation with him and one or two other members. So this is what I learned. While many of these protests happen on a Friday or Saturday, April 5th, right? Okay, many of these people are sitting in their racquetball clubs, sipping on old fashions and smoking cigars. They don't care about you walking in the streets. Y'all can walk in the streets all day long because they know most people who are in those marches on Monday morning will still go back to their local Starbucks. We have forgotten what it's like to be uncomfortable. And that's exactly what they're counting on. You going for ritualistic convenience. Our parents and grandparents understood what it was like to be uncomfortable. They understood in part what sacrifices would have to be made. It wasn't easy, it wasn't comfortable, and not every Black person was on board. But for changes like this to happen in our generation, you're going to have to get uncomfortable. So for the person who came in my comments saying that, yes, it's wonderful to shop with small businesses and shop online, but you're going to have to pay for the extra charges for shipping and handling and postage, they are not ready to be uncomfortable. And for some people, it's not about comfort, it's about time. They don't have the time to look up these businesses. And that's another reason why I have this Black-owned buying guide and why I continue to build it out. And please understand me, I'm not trying to shame anyone who is marching or people who are not marching or shopping with small businesses or not shopping with small businesses. Here's something that's the truth and the reality. And I'll use this as an example. So the other day I was at work and I was sitting in my hotel room looking out the window. And I was watching this construction site and I was noticing that there was a guy that was out here and all his job was to spray the dirt. That's it. This discoloration was not a real discoloration. It's the fact that he watered this dirt. This was starting to dry out, but he came back and watered this too. But that was his job. All he did was water the dirt. His job was absolutely essential for the progress of this job site. You don't think about that. Why would you need some dude to come out there and water the dirt? Well, on this day, it was so windy that it would have been a dustbin. Dust would have been flying all over the place. The drivers wouldn't be able to see. Nobody would be able to walk anywhere. But there is a guy and all he did was show up to spray the dirt. These guys taught me that most people show up to the wrong job site altogether. When you're out there marching and holding up those signs, did you buy those products from a big box store or my mom and pops that actually needs you? They're not afraid of the marches. They're afraid of you marching to the polls and voting your best interests. They're afraid of you shopping directly with the small businesses, cutting out their middleman. And I know why I'm here. I'm here to speak out loudly for the small businesses in our community. I'm here to speak out loudly about the businesses to never shop with out in these social media streets. I'm also here to speak up loudly for the Black-owned bookstores in our community because they are now the history keepers. They're the gatekeepers to our history. And if we don't support them, we will lose them and lose a good portion of our history. All the things that have been written down is now being torn apart. We have to support them. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. As long as you're here and you show up to this job, I don't care if you're watering the dirt. Show up and do that shift.